Days 8 through 10, a lot of new developments in this video series. We have 2 graphs at the very top that we'll go through in the final session, which is session 10. At the very beginning of the video, we put on some toe spacers and then went right into some inversion, eversion, plantar flexion, and some foot slides. Now the toe spacers are more experimental. I like them, but I don't like them, so you'll see them on and off through this series. We've got a lot of massaging that's put on 10 speed because no one wants to watch that. But I've got a lot of blood pooling in the generalized area, which we'll see that's very apparent during the standing weight-bearing exercise because the coloration's pretty wild. We do our normal seated plantar flexion isometrics during a lot of these sessions, whether it is dynamic in nature where we have a free-floating weight, or if it's yielding where it's free-floating weight, but there's no change in that mechanical flexion, dorsiflexion occurring. And then we have our overcoming, which we see with that bar. Now, the standing weight-bearing exercise, we can see that there is a difference in that coloration. I don't think the grading or the editing of this really depicts the differences in colors with these, but the overall muscle mass is definitely apparent. That's the end of session 8. And then the first fun development that we have here is that I found a Alter G anti-gravity treadmill on Facebook Marketplace for $500, which is crazy. Retail price is way over 20, 30, 40K. So it was great timing. It costs a little bit more just to transport it, but I probably will resell after. So if you're interested, let me know. And then we made our way to the gym, my old place of work, Razor Sharp Fitness. We did some seated isometric dynamic heel raises, and then the hyper boots, upwards of 124 degrees Fahrenheit, and then 3 levels of compression, which have been super, super helpful since I have pretty severe Raynaud's. Right now, my fingers are pretty numb, which is just to go to show my hands and feet are not the best. Got a close-up of that scar. I'm sure you wanted to see that during our plantar flexion, then we have our inversion, eversion, and into our seated isometric. Now, we see this gradual incline, and we're going to see a lot of these peak values that are higher than what's depicted on this graph. This graph is just depicting the averages over the session. So we have a standing weight bearing at the very end that's 421, yet our indicated point for 9/30, September 30th, is right at like 400, 398. So this is just the averages over the entire session. Feeling more comfortable as we go with these, but yeah, stay tuned for the next round of videos.